Welcome to Rewind, podcast by Broken English. Got some great guests here today. Performers, we did a great show last night, man, and I'm interested to have this conversation with you. I'm anxious to have this conversation with you guys, and kind of build off of where we started yesterday, and also get some dialogue between yourselves because a lot of you guys' energy really flowed off of each other. So I'm curious to hear a little bit more. I'm curious to hear what your guys will be sharing. But real quick, don't want to go any further and let it be understated by saying we don't appreciate everybody that continues to support the Broken English platform. Continue to link with us. We are in a different location today. As we can see, we are at the Idea Collective. So shout out to them. Shout out to Goodly, shooting the podcast. As always, eyes behind the film. And further, here we go with our guests. I briefly want you guys, like 90 seconds, like tell me what you want people to know about you and the message that you delivered last night and will deliver today. And anybody can start. Right, I know. Right. Off the bat.
Right.
Okay,
Just brief introduction.
Faheem Curtis Kadir, scholar, academic, because the two ain't the same.
Mm-hmm.
Scholar, activist, local research historian, global citizen. What I would want people to take from our time together today and piggybacking off of yesterday is to take honor, pride, and a sense of responsibility for your own history, knowing your own history, being aware of your own history, and being accountable for your own history, and not necessarily relying on people outside your own community or your nexus to tell you who you are. And that you don't have to be an academic to do that, right, to be part of this larger narrative. You don't necessarily have to have a degree to do that. And so I think, I hope that people take away from our time together and my particular POV is that you can take honor in where you're from, take pride in where you're from, and take accountability and control of the narrative too. No matter what it may be, good, bad, indifferent, but it's important that you be able to tell your own story.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Well, I'm new on my journey. I'm just starting, so I would want everyone to feel welcome to join me and encourage others to start their journey, like crafting my identity and crafting what I want people to know. I was really just expressing myself, and it turned into all of this. So it's something I'm still working on myself. So I would just encourage everyone else to take that and let it inspire you. Like, don't be held back by your past circumstances. Be open to grow, and I encourage it. So that's what I want people to take from me.
My name is Dre Peace. Honestly, just piggybacking off the vibe from last night, I just want people to feel what I feel in the moment. The sense of community that we had as artists last night, everybody sharing freely, that energy coming back from the people, just experiencing our art. The main thing I want people to take away from my performance is the experience. It's tangible. You feel it.
Word. And it definitely was apparent, honestly, man. Like, I feel like one thing I always enjoy about Broken English is the curation of the people that we happen to bring together. So what they do behind the scenes in putting y'all together and what y'all do on the stage together, it flows. Like, it flows from the community to the identity to the experience. Like, so it was, like I said, I wanted to talk about that, like, because did you guys take anything from each other's performances last night that maybe I feel today or you felt last night?
Your energy was heavy. Like, I was inspired just listening to both of y'all. I'm like, wow, like, I can tell y'all are so practiced. Like, y'all take your craft seriously, and it inspires me to, like, craft myself and make sure I practice even more and take the tips. The way you worked the whole crowd, I'm like, that was amazing. I'm like, okay. And you had the movements, just everything. You had the knowledge. You kept everyone engaged. Like everyone wanted to hear what you had to say, and everyone wanted to hear more. So I just want to make sure that I take that, I use it, and I hope we all use it.
I want to say, it's funny you say that, moving around. Like, it's actually hard for me. You know, I felt contained. I was trying not to be jumping on the tables and, you know, under the chairs and crazy stuff. You know, I'm used to moving around like that, so it was cool to have that, you know, just connection, so intimate, be right next to your people. You know? But one thing, man, really got me with you, you know, I grew up in Trotwood. Everywhere I go singing wise, I feel like I meet somebody from Ohio, and I'm always trying to tell people that everything they love, music wise, started here.
Absolutely.
In some way.
Yeah.
Funk has touched everything, so it was just so dope to hear you speak on that. You know, I feel like you talk about other history when it comes to the city, but music stands strong. You know, you was talking about streets my grandfather's on to this day. We was talking about your energy was so crazy. I mean, I think even the moment where you decided to switch your poem at the last minute, it was so authentic. It made us all engage even more in all the shit you was saying. I love that. I thought last night was crazy. It was a good vibe for everybody.
I would take from our sister, you got everybody with the first line. Like, it was.
You did. Hey, nah. Hold up. What's the first line?
From Jump Street, right? Everybody.
For those who missed it, what's the first line of that again, bro?
I don't like women that wear combat boots.
It was a girl wearing boots, right?
Our first verse.
He's like, if the shoe fits weird. But the thing is, it's the tone and the pitch. Like, if you're just reading that line on the script, it doesn't mean as much. But when you add your life experience, right?
We were interested.
And your interest and your character behind it, now it takes on a life of its own. And that's something that either you can do or you can't. But I could appreciate what I was seeing when I was hearing it. And you're gifted. Your voice, you're gifted. The way that you work the room, some of that stuff can be taught. But your natural gift, either you can sing like that or you can't. You know, you can do as much stage prep as you want. But I was just able to be present with y'all's gift and appreciate it in real time. And so for me, my takeaway is I came away full. And I believe Brother Tripp spoke to that yesterday, having these authentic places for us to be black how we be black. And not necessarily have to put no cuts on it. You show up how you show up, you know, in this wide diaspora of blackness. And we experienced that yesterday in a short period of time. And so my takeaway was just the fullness and this appreciating people operating their gift. That filled me up.
That's dope. I'm gonna do some qualifying real quick and just speak on behalf of artists watching art. And I say from each of y'all, even outside of y'all performances and within y'all performances, like Lightwork, like you performed on the stage, but you had your art all throughout the space. Like the way that everybody took, you know, you captivated the entire room with your art in the space. And then you got up there and spit. Like it was dope. Like to see you work the room. Like you work in the room, like you moving back and forth, bro. Like everybody back here, like you. At one point, we got to the show. Hey, close your eyes, and he get to singing. My business manager, she like, man, I had to open my eyes. I almost went somewhere and started crying, man. Like, but Trip, he threw it out. Like, man, like it's just some of those moments that you have in these type of environments where everything is firing on all cylinders, man. Like, and with the knowledge of Dayton, like a lot of the stuff, like I'm ignorant to, and it's good to see brothers that are in the community that are spreading that knowledge about all different facets of the city and how we got to where we are and where we need to go as a community, bro. Like, so we touching every single part of what we need as a people, as a diaspora. Like, sorry, like I always enjoy that moment coming into fruition and seeing that for each other. Like So it's dope to have y'all in that particular space. I do have a couple questions from the audience that we gonna get to at some particular point, but once again, like y'all chemistry, did y'all have questions for each other? Like, did y'all?
Oh, yeah. We talk to each other.
Yeah, like
we was talking to each other.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, throw some of that out there, man. Like, I definitely would like to hear some of
I
that.
want to ask you something if you don't mind. Like,
You wanna?
I think her name was. I might be wrong. Was it Margaret Peters?
Yes.
Was a historian here?
Yeah.
So that's what I remember. I think she passed away. I was talking to my guitarist that was here yesterday, and I said, "Man, it's so dope to see someone in our age group. You know what I mean? Carrying on. I mean, she's the only person I know that cared enough about this city to be a historian or you know, research where we're from. I mean, I just thought that was dope, man. So I really want to know what made you want to delve so deep into our history here.
It came from a place of lack. I always was centered on Black experiences and the Black narrative. And for a large part of my educational experience in primary school, et cetera, it was a struggle to get any meaningful information around that. And so I had to tap into other resources. As I alluded to yesterday, my time at the McLennan Institute with Mama Renee really put me in this position. Because for the first time, I was allowed the space to explore who I was. Because I was coming from these predominantly white spaces, white conservative places, in parochial school, and that didn't work out. So now I'm in a place where I don't have to necessarily fight to be Black. And I can have the autonomy to take control of my Black body and more say so in my learning experience. And I took that and I just went head over heels into our history. Because initially it was just, rebellion. It was a rebellious academic exercise, and I found I actually liked it. I enjoyed it. I had a skill set that led me towards history, academically. But that wasn't even I didn't start out as a historian. I started out as a business major, as a lot of folks do. And after that first microeconomics class, this ain't it, bro. this ain't, yeah, bro. This ain't it. I ain't gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? And then I was a nursing major, but for all the wrong reasons. You feel me? Fox in the hen house. Yeah. And so that got real after that first chemistry class. Organic chem, this ain't, I can't fake it. Ain't no amount of beautiful women gonna help me pass this class. It's just not gonna work, bro. And so it forced me to actually to analyze what am I passionate about and what can I make a career out of.
Your priorities.
My priorities, right?
Yeah.
And that ties back into my time with Mama Renee, because I tapped back into that. And I've always done well in those spaces. And so having that linchpin into the community, I knew about Margaret Peters. I knew about Charles Austin. I know about Baba Crow and the work that they've done. So as I mentioned yesterday, I'm standing on their shoulders. I think it's always important to acknowledge the people who came before me. And ideally, as I continue to do what I can in this historical space, somebody can look at my work and build upon that and take it even further. But to your point, that's how those historians, those academics came to my nexus, is other people in the community who've been doing the work.
Yeah.
Got you. Where so picking up where we were left off at though.
Yeah. Having those formative experiences as a young man in second and third grade with Mama Renee, also being at the W.E.B. Du Bois Military Academy with Mr. Hassel, a myriad of other pro-Black educators, it gave me that foundational seeding that has allowed me to be in the spaces I am now and be unapologetic about telling our stories, studying our stories from a black perspective, right? And not only from a black perspective, but from somebody who's actually from the town.
Right.
You know, Dayton is like a gift that keeps on giving, in the sense that a lot of other people profit off the work that Daytonians have done, besides people from the city. Not only profit from it, but also they broadcast it and they leverage it, because Dayton has a tremendous amount of social equity. And so people use that and they build their careers or now social media platforms off of that. And I think it's important for folks from the city who have particular gifts and skill sets in those lanes to make sure our voices are heard, to tell our own stories. Even if it's not quote unquote profitable, just to create that social equity, that social space, that landing spot for Daytonians to speak about Dayton stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel it.
Can I say something to what you said? You said Dayton, the gift to keep on giving. Everywhere I've been, man, musically, I don't care if a concert, whatever, it's a friend playing, you know, we get backstage, whatever, you know, the drummer, so sweet. We don't know this cat from Adam. Every musician, singer, whoever we see as the highlight, they always end up being from Ohio. Every state I go to, don't matter what. You know, like, oh man, I saw this crazy, you know, dope girl. She's this club last night. Oh, she from Akron. I mean, every time. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter where I go. I'm shown how much Ohio is blessing everywhere else. You know, from the creative space.
Absolutely. I think it was from Snoop when he had his pod, and he did like a 3 or 4 minute spiel when he credited the birth of the West Coast sound to Dayton Funk.
That funk.
Roger Troutman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Zap, that bounce, keeping everything on the one and playing in the pockets. That's Battle Cat.
Slave.
That's Dre, Slave.
Yeah,
like that's
Slave.
their sound. Of course, they elevated it and they put their own genius on it, but you know, hip hop as a genre doesn't exist in the same way without Dayton.
Yep.
Right.
You know,
I wish we had Trip over here. Hey, he definitely. It's Black History Month, so I know at some point, if you follow Trip, he will have some type of Black history and Dayton specific info when it comes to music and the influence of it. So yeah, like he definitely would have that conversation all day and night. So I actually wanted to pivot a little bit and talk to you about how long you've been doing the art, because it kind of blew me away with you saying like it's been 4 to 5 years of you kind of like maybe having this on and off process in the beginning to you actually where you are with your with some of your art and the, you know, what you were doing with that.
It was, well, I actually did the calculation, so it was 6 years ago. In the beginning, it was real sparse, but I started drawing because I was so stressed. I was in a poetry organization, but I was supposed to go to Cupsy, but my team didn't actually end up going.
Gotcha.
So just the poetry was getting real tense for me, and like I feel like words sometimes fall short of expression. So I was finding that art was getting it out. So like I was drawing, and I wasn't taught. I taught myself.
So this was this innate? Like, did you like doodle as a kid and just knew you were like had some type of ability to do it or capacity to do it that you just had to get better with?
No, that's not how I was brought into it. I did go to art schools. So growing up, I went to Ames, I went to Fair. So I was in art schools, but I focused on dance. I really loved to dance. So I actually made the principal show at Fort Hayes. I went to Fort Hayes for a year. So I actually didn't get to perform because it was a typo, so I missed out. I was so sad. And I was happy because I was a freshman, so I'm like, oh wow, I did great. It was a typo and I didn't even get to perform. When they told me, I was heartbroken. So
Shut the school down.
man, so when I started doing art, I just realized, wow, I can express a different type of emotion because my life experiences is more so poetry. So I just sat down and I just drew, and that's why everybody, they would see me at the open mics and they would see me drawing. That was me teaching myself. I was learning as I was doing it. I didn't watch videos. I just practiced until I saw something I liked, and I just refined my craft that way.
That's fire. I know a lot of people that take a lot of time to find out their own craft, to what they do. Like, that's crazy. Like, to think it's only, I don't know, like, I guess what drove that concentration? Because you said you was using it as an outlet to get away from it, but like, was there a particular thing that drove that concentration to this is my craft now, and I can see it?
Exploration. It was the fact that I was more so driven to it because of emotion. So I wanted to be hyper realistic. That was my thing. Okay. I'm like, I'm gonna draw exactly what I see, and I want to be great at it. I'm gonna be so good. They not gonna know if it's a picture if I drew it. So I just kept practicing that. But as I continued to do art, I like the expression of it. I'm like, okay, I could draw a picture and it could look very similar, but why don't I branch out? So I started doing the charcoals, and I like the charcoals because I like to use my hands. So the more I do it, I really love black and white art. So
that was dope.
It's funny you said use your hands. I was thinking about how clean that stuff is.
Man, it's precise.
Like, I'm like, how are you doing this, man? That stuff is beautiful.
Some of them was charcoal, some of them was drawn, but yeah, I use my hands mostly. I know some people, they use the shaders to shade in. I shade with my fingers. I just like this.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Straight up.
And I wanted to ask you, because I've seen your name on bills now. Trip has let me know what type of work you do around here and how long you've been crafting your expression. Because the control that you displayed, my brother, like, that's not something that, I just hopped up and started singing. And I don't know, man. Like, you talked a little bit about it last night, just your influence in it. But like, what you're doing now, like, what are you doing to continue that?
Man, like I spoke on it for a little bit yesterday, but I created an outlet pretty much to support what I didn't have. You know, recently I got a chance to play the Lincoln Theater. I've been fighting to get the whole theater. You know what I mean? They gave me a portion of it. You know what I mean? For the first show, I take what I can get. Right. I want to create a space where artists could have a platform to do what was hard for me to do. You know I have the talent, I got the band, I got the resources, I got the whatever. And, I've applied to 100 of the festivals that I've attended or, played in other bands with, but they don't know who you are. You know what I mean? So it's not as easy to get those yeses. I created a festival. It's called the Secret Garden Music Festival. Black ran, black funded, black created, all that, right? And we give those artists who, maybe didn't get a Jazz and Red Fest slot or an Indianapolis Jazz Fest or Cincy, whatever, just because people don't know them or their name ain't as big or whatever. Give those people a chance to show their craft. That's what I'm really focusing on right now. Long term, I'm just trying to get to the Grammys, man.
Hey, that's it.
I just want them to call my name.
Do it. You did a great job. Real quick, I do want to do a time check. Where we at on time? Okay, got you. So, like I said, I think we'll probably do a quick little wrap up here. Like I said, we do have some audience questions because that's part of what this conversation is supposed to be. And even last night we get to talking and we realized we didn't talk for so long without even getting to some of the content that people actually wanted to ask y'all. So I do have some questions for the audience coming up next. So stay tuned. Rewind.